In this lesson, we will finish rigging the creature's legs by adding knee controls. Now we have a very interesting challenge with the knees. You can see how they don't point forward, instead they kind of angle out. So we need to make sure that when we add in knee targets, it will not cause the creature's legs to shift. So here's how we'll do this. We'll go ahead and hide our model, and that's the solution. No, not quite. What we need to do is go ahead and create a point helper. And let's now align this with Alt-A to our thigh bone. Alright, so from here, you can see how this object is on the same plane as the thigh. What does that mean? Well, let's go ahead and change our move tool to local mode. And we'll only move in the Y and X axes. So you can see as we move along this plane, again, it's on the same plane as our thigh. So all we need to do then is make sure we snap our knee control over to this object, and that way, when we apply it as a knee target, the leg will not shift, again, because it's on the same plane. So here's what we need to do. Let's go ahead and show our creature. And we just need to figure out where we want the knee control to be. So we'll go ahead and maybe bring this back so it's a little bit closer. We don't want it too close to the other controls. We want to make sure it's easy to grab. I think this is a good spot. Alright, so now it's time to go in and create a control. We could always work with an arrow shape. So we'll choose Import. There's the arrow. Alright, great. So once it's been imported in, you can always go ahead and translate it over. Great. I'll go ahead and zoom in a bit more. And let's start to just bring down the size. So we'll just go ahead and grab all of our points, start scaling this down. Alright, great stuff. Let's go ahead and zoom in. I think it's about time to reset the X-form on this. Alright, we'll also go ahead and collapse it down. Now let's go ahead and take this object and snap it over to our helper. So we'll go ahead and press Shift-A and go ahead and click on that object. Alright, great. So from here what I'd like to do is go ahead and bring down its size a bit more. It's still kind of large. So we'll just go ahead and drop it down. Excellent. And then from here we can kind of rotate it with angle snap just so that it flows along the same plane. Just rotating its shape. Alright, great. Now, how can we clone this object over to the other knee? Well, let me go ahead and show you something. If we were to go ahead and grab our move tool here, let's go ahead and now turn on snapping. We'll go to our hierarchy panel and choose Effect Pivot Only. And now let's go ahead and snap that pivot over to our grid. There we go. Alright, so what we can do from here, after turning off Effect Pivot Only, is go ahead and now use our mirror tool, and you can see the object has been mirrored over. Alright, so we can now choose OK. We can select both objects, and we can make sure to center their pivots. Alright, beautiful. Let's go ahead and test this out. We'll start on the left side. If we were to go to our IK goal, go to our motion panel, and find Pick Target, let's go ahead and click on None. And now we'll go ahead and click on our control object. It looks like there was a slight shift. So no worries. Here's how we test this out. If I were to go ahead and undo this back, we can go ahead and choose None again. And now we can go ahead and select the helper. You can see how it doesn't shift at all. So all this means is that the control is just slightly off from the helper. Alright, so if we were to go ahead and grab the control object and press Shift-A, we can now go ahead and align it to our helper. Great. Once we've managed to do that, we can go back to our IK goal and watch. When we go ahead and click on Pick Target and click on our control, you can see that no longer does the leg shift. As we start to move our control, we're driving the knee. How cool. Alright, so we basically want to take care of the opposite side the same way. A fast way to make sure that the control on the opposite side will not shift is to go ahead and take the helper, make sure your move tool is set to, let's say, world, and then you can go ahead and use the reciprocal in your x-axis. You can set this to negative 9.211, or whatever value you have here. Just go ahead and flip that. Then you can go ahead and take your control, press Shift-A, and click on the helper. All right, great. So let's test this out. We should be able to grab our IK goal, choose Pick Target, and grab the control. Take a look. No shifting at all. When we grab the control object and move it, we're now moving the knee. How awesome is that? So we've learned a technique for dealing with legs that are kind of offset, oriented out. So we know how to make sure that if we decide on working with a knee target, that it gets applied without changing our skin pose. Let's go ahead and get rid of the helper. We no longer need that. We can also go in and recolor our control objects. I'm going to take care of the left side. All right, we can get these renamed. That's going to be enum L knee 01. Let's go ahead and copy that name. Use it for the opposite side. All right, let's go ahead and now grab both control objects and head over to Manage Layers. We'll want them added to our controls layer, so we'll go ahead and do that. Very nice. Let's make sure that they're linked to our global control. All right, and now we should be able to freeze them down, and they should still work just fine. How exciting. All right, guess what? We have finished our control rig, so it's now time for a bit of cleanup work, and we'll do that in the following lesson.